That's all right, you do it. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and get started. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I know most of you here. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Jeff Coy. I'm a finance professor here, and I am one of the faculty advisors to the FMA Club. Professor Phil Sachinsky here is the other faculty advisor. So we're going to have an administrative meeting to start off this semester. We've already got our schedule set for the whole semester. We have a field trip in a couple of weeks, and there'll be some more information about that. But we're supposed to be going to BNY Mellon here in Erie, and spending a little bit of time over there with Paul Wojcik, show us around and show us some things that he does. The time, I'm still going back and forth with emails with him as we speak, so we're going to set down a time for that. But as soon as I have it, everybody will get an email. Is everybody get emails for from the course, the finance course that we have in Canvas? They call it the Canvas Pride, the Finance Pride, I think is what it's called. So on your Canvas. Okay, so if anybody's not getting them, can you rip off a piece of paper there and pass that around? If anybody's not getting those emails, when you go to your Canvas, there should be a separate course that says Bavarian Finance Program. If you're not seeing that, write down your Penn State ID, the 3 digits and the numbers, and send that around to anybody that's not getting it, and I can add you to that, so you'll start getting those, and that class will show up. For World Campus students, the same thing. If you don't see a Bavarian Finance Program separate course in your Canvas that has all the information from the Bavarian Finance Program here, which is your finance program as well, just please email me your Penn State ID and let me know that you're not getting it, and I can add you to that course so it'll start showing up for you. That's where a lot of our information goes, and I can send emails out through that to all finance students as well. So I'm just going to introduce your student club president here, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about FMA, about some of the things that we're going to do this semester, and some other things, introduce you to the officers. And then I'm going to come back and go through some of the things that we have available to us as for our finance program here at Bavarian. Ben Lowry is our student club president, so welcome, Ben.
Once again, thank you everyone for coming out. We appreciate you taking some time, especially at the beginning of the semester. So as Dr. Coy said, I am the president of FMA for this last remaining semester. At first, I want to recognize the rest of the club officers. So as I raise your name, say your name, please stand up so we can talk a little bit about you. So our vice president is Jared Orr. So Jared, if you could just stand up for us.
All right, Jared.
Our treasurer is Eric Ovick, the late Eric Ovick. Our secretary, due to 2 members actually transferring and one being on a study abroad, we have 2 new members. So the new secretary for FMA is going to be Jake Jenkins. So Jake, you can stand up. And then the chair for our committee admission and programs is going to be Bradley Lucas. So Brad, you can stand up. So once again, thank you guys. Really appreciate you coming out. A couple things about FMA, and later when Dr. Coy speaks a little bit about it, you actually get to see how to join FMA officially, and we're going to walk you guys through the process. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But FMA is the Financial Management Association. It is an international association with members across the world, and we do a lot here. And over the past, I believe it's 6 or 8 years, we have had a solid chapter here. In the past 4, we have had the Supreme Chapter designation, so that's something that not many chapters in the world actually get to do. But within that, we're going to talk a little bit more, and I'm going to invite Dr. Coy back up to explain how to become a member, a full-fledged member, where you can apply this to your resume, attend events, and other little treats on the site. So Dr. Coy, if you wouldn't mind coming back up here and explaining this.
All right. So in your engaging with the Penn State Finance Program page that you have, it's part of every finance course page. So you have information here on the School of Business about our CFA designation. We have finance speaker series that a lot of times are on the same nights as the speakers that we're going to have in these meetings. This is the only meeting where we're not going to have a speaker. So this is an administrative meeting. All of the other meetings that we have this semester, we're going to have a speaker in here from various places to talk. We have a panel discussion one night. We have a finance speaker series, I think one of them or two of them this semester. And on those nights, we're going to hold an FMA meeting before the speaker does their speech. And so you guys can do a meet and greet with them and talk to them and ask them about what they do, and they can answer some questions about what it is they do, how they got there, things that you might be interested in knowing. So those are all part of our meetings as well. This is what Ben was referring to, this section here that's about joining our Financial Management Association. For those of you that are joining us from World Campus, this is the Engaging with Penn State Barron's Finance Program that's in your campus page. So when you go through there, you'll be able to see this information with these links. So here's where you join. The link will open in a new tab. Hopefully it'll open. So you get to this join or renew page. We also have, before I move on here, you have a student here, undergraduate student, that would be you. And we also have the National Honor Society students there. For any finance majors that have taken over 6 credits of finance and that have a 3.5 grade point average or higher in their finance courses and overall, I think, are eligible for the FMA National Honor Society. And I will identify you, and you'll be getting an email from me this semester in a couple weeks, I believe it is. I have somebody identifying you folks for me and for World Campus, and they're going to send me that, and I'll send an invitation out for you. And this is where you'll sign up. I'll have these directions in that email that I send you if you're one of those candidates. But whether it's that or regular sign up, this is where you'll sign up. So you'll click on this, click to join or renew. And you'll have to create, you'll be a new user, so you'll have to create one if you haven't yet. I am not a new user. So I have to log in, if I remember correctly. Okay, so this is the page that'll come up, the membership application. So the professional part, don't worry about. You're not PhD students. You're not just a student. You are a student. So the student registration is $35 for the national FMA, and you would click this down, and you would click student, and then you put one period is there. My information is in there because I'm the one that logged in, and this is the address of the Berg Center here. And I have to put, because I'm not a student, I have to put the areas in which I teach and do research. So let's go down and do that. So down here is student chapter information. So all you have to do, there's a drop-down menu here, and Penn State Barron is listed there. And just click it. And it doesn't tell you what the dues are for Penn State Barron, but on our finance engaging with the page, it tells you it's $15. So it's a $15 local due. You can pay the $15 local dues without paying the National Honor Society dues. However, without paying the National Honor Society dues and becoming a member, you cannot put it on your resume. So it's well worth it. And you don't just get to put something on your resume, but you become a member of the International Society, and there's job postings on this website. And, you can post resumes on the website. Employers can look at those resumes. They have conferences and events and things that you can attend if you happen to be in an area where they're having it or interested in going to one. So there's a lot more than just putting the line on your resume with the international chapter. So that's the joining part. It's pretty simple, and it's right there in that link. Any questions on that before I move on? We also have the Financial Planning Club here. We encourage you guys to get involved there if you're so interested. They, I think Billy said they're meeting the first Tuesday of every month. I'm not sure exactly what their schedule is, but Billy, I think most of you know Billy. Billy's the president of the SBA Club, so we can reach out to him. The Business Analytics team, Eric Robbins is heading that up. I believe you guys probably just got an email from him just recently about this. I talked to him on the phone earlier. So within the Canvas Pride, this is the Engaging with the Barron Finance Program page. But there's also that course that I was telling you about, the finance course. If you go in there, he just put some documents in there about when the meetings are and how you can join, and contacting him if you want to get involved in that. I would strongly consider it. The Student Managed Fund is something that you can also get involved with here. Dr. Kraus, Tim Kraus, is in charge of that. So his contact information is in there. Scholarships for the CFA. So as you're probably aware, I know Dr. Philbeck likes to talk about this a lot, and rightfully so, because it's an awesome thing that we have here. We're one of the very few finance programs in the world that are a CFA recognized program. So that means that we teach at least 70% of the candidate body of knowledge for the CFA Institute's Level 1 exam. And because we have Professor Robbins and Dr. Boswell-John and Dr. Philbeck, is that all? We have 3 CFAs on our staff here. I think, as Dr. Philbeck likes to say, main campus gets 2 scholarships for CFA Level 1. We have like 18. I think we're up to 18 now. Is it 18 or 19? I think we have offer 18 scholarships to take the CFA Level 1. So if you're interested and that's a track you want to take, these tests are not cheap. So these scholarships can mean a lot. So you can contact Dr. Philbeck about that. I would definitely, I think he just was accepting applications recently. I'm not sure.
When we talk about scholarship, just to add, I mean, this is like a $2,000 scholarship. These tests are not cheap, so.
It's not just to take the test, it's for all the study materials. That's part of when you pay for that test, you get all the study materials and the books and all that stuff that goes with it. That's what the scholarship is for, the entire cost of taking that first exam. It's pretty expensive, especially as a senior in school. The CFA Research Talents team is something else. Dr. Boswell-John is involved with that. What you'll do is you'll be assigned a company, and you'll do valuations of that company. You spend quite a bit of time with your team doing valuations of the company, and then you compete your valuation models against teams from other schools. We're last few years are regularly winning the regional. I think last year was the first year in 3 years that we had won the regional, and compete against Pitt and well, they don't like us to call it main campus, the Center County campus of Penn State University over in University Park. So you compete against other teams, and then 2 and 3 years ago they went to nationals. So it's pretty interesting. You go through the evaluation process, which is actually pretty valuable to both sides of the finance world. And then there's a couple other things here that you can take a look at.
So just one last thing. So for you guys, we have a Penn State Barron Finance page on Facebook. I would highly recommend you guys, if you have a Facebook, which I'm sure you do, whether you use it or not. Okay. But go there and follow it. Here we will post when our meetings are, who's speaking, a little bit about them, as well as the live stream updates. So if you can't make it here, right now we're live streaming for the Wall Campus students. Anyone that can't make it, we have a Penn State Barron Finance YouTube page. So all of these live streams, after the live stream is complete, will be uploaded to those pages. So if you can't be here for whatever reason, a class, test, work, whatever it is, you can always catch these meetings at a later time.
And that YouTube link is up here in the CFA, not FMA. That link is in there too. So one of the reasons that we put this page up there, as I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard, being in school for the last few years from older folks like me that talk about back when I was in school. I swore I'd never say things like that. But back when I was in school, 20 years ago, getting a bachelor's degree puts you in contention for jobs and things along with everybody else that was graduating school with a bachelor's degree. Times have changed quite a bit. The degree itself isn't enough a lot of times to get a job or to get you the call back or the second interview or whatever you want to call it. In this day and age, graduating with a degree is only part of it. Having a decent GPA is only part of it. Employers are looking for what have you done outside of the classroom. And we try to make sure that you guys have the opportunities to put these bullets on your resume and have these talking points. I can guarantee you that you're not going to go into a job interview and somebody's going to sit down and talk about how to calculate beta or how to calculate the capital asset pricing model. It's important for you to learn it and understand the concept when you're in school and when you're out of school. But that's not going to get you a job interview. They assume that everybody knows that stuff. If you've got the degree, well, proving that you can calculate these things and know these basic principles is not what you'll be talking about in the job interview. The things that you'll be talking about in the job interview are the things that you're looking forward to do with your career. What have you done outside of the classroom? Those are the talking points in interviews. If you don't have those things to talk about, you're not going to have anything to talk about because they're not going to ask you the things that you learned in the classroom. And when they ask you about some of the things that you've done outside of the classroom or things that you did in the classroom that weren't related to book materials, like I teach the 451, as many of you are aware, we do a joint project in there. I had 6 students come to me last spring semester that were in the fall semester joint project and say, you know, we complained about this project while we were doing it, but as soon as we sat down in an interview and somebody asked us about it, that's all we talked about in the interview for the next 30 minutes. 4 of those students were finance students and the other 2 were engineers that we work in the projects with. So students from both disciplines are getting jobs to talk about things like this. These are the types of things, the real life things, the real life data when we do Excel projects in classes where we use actual data. These are the things that are talking points. It's not, like I said, how we calculate CAPM and WAC. That's not what you're going to talk about in the interview. But in addition to these projects that we try to incorporate real life activities into the classroom, there are the out of classroom things. And the 3 biggies are internships, and the 3 biggies are in this order. Internships, getting involved in the extracurricular things like this club and becoming an officer. That's a great thing to put on a resume, that you were the president or treasurer or whatever the case, secretary of these clubs. It proves that you're doing something in addition to just studying the material. And the third thing that's the big bullet points that big thing you can put on your resume that gives you these talking points and the extra bullet points is volunteer work. And we have a couple great opportunities here for that as well. It's not listed on our engaging page, but every spring I do an outreach event with, how many of you are familiar with Junior Achievement? I know a few of you are, I know a few of you have done stuff with me in the past. Junior Achievement is a nonprofit organization, and they develop and write basic business material, and they go into classrooms from grade school, I think 2nd grade maybe they start, it's either 1st or 2nd grade, all the way up through high school, and they have different plans that they teach these kids at early ages, so they start getting some exposure to business. It's been a while since I was in high school, but when I was in high school, I had one option for a business class. It was I could take an accounting elective. I took it, and it basically showed me how to balance my checkbook is what I learned, and I can guarantee you nobody in here even owns a checkbook. So there was no exposure to business. Maybe I wouldn't have dropped out of college the first time and learned how to be a bartender. I would have figured it out a little earlier if I would have got some exposure to business at a younger age. But these are the types of things that we're talking about. And there's 2 good opportunities to volunteer with Junior Achievement as well. I do this outreach event in the spring called the Titan event. The Titan is the program that is their high school program. And we bring groups of high school students out here, and they spend all day in Burt 180 with us, and we teach them 6 basic business concepts in the morning for a few hours, and then we have lunch, and then they practice a simulation game, and then they play a simulation game against the other teams where they make these decisions: marketing, price, how much you're going to produce, how much you're going to give to charity, research and development. I cannot believe I'm remembering all these, and capital investment. That's the last one. That's the finance one. I couldn't remember that. Capital investment. And they make these 6 decisions like every quarter. And then they get this thing called an index, which is basically a stock price. And the ones with the highest, they do this for a number of quarters and make these decisions. And then they can see what their competitors are doing each quarter and then adjust their plan accordingly. And they come out and they get real into it. They talk smack to each other, and they want to sit separately in the room so the other teams cannot hear what they're talking about and the strategies that they're doing. It's really a lot of fun, and they have a lot of questions about the school. And it's always surprising. Every year we get some of these students that are born and raised in Erie, and they've never stepped foot on this campus. And first of all, the students get a benefit from it. We're helping Junior Achievement in their cause as well. But of course, the School of Business is putting up a room because they want to get some benefit from it as well. And the benefit we get, we're not trying to sell them on the place, but they get to see what we have going on here and ask questions. And the last thing they want to hear during the few hours that we teach them the business concepts is me running my mouth for 3 hours. So student volunteers, you guys are the ones that we get to do that and walk around and help them with the game. I know Ben's helped, Jake's helped, Margot helped out last year as well. So there's a few folks here you can ask about it if you'd like to. And you'll hear more about it in meetings. That's in the spring semester. But before then, there's opportunities to volunteer with Junior Achievement anyway. They're right across the street. They're in the Logan Carriage House right there. That's where they're housed, across the street. They're actually here on campus. So maybe I think either our next meeting or the one after, I'm going to probably have somebody with Junior Achievement come in here and talk to you guys for a few minutes about volunteering. And that's a situation where you actually get say a third grade or fourth grade level material, and you go into a classroom like once a week for 4 or 5 weeks or something like that and teach those kids. I did it as an undergrad back home in Jacksonville, Florida, where this weather sure makes me glad I don't live in Florida anymore. Oh, it's miserable out there. But I did it. I went into 6th grade classroom, and that was where you teach them about the world. And the material, it shows you exactly what to do. You know, it tells you grab a bunch of stuff around your house that, you know, on the back of it says made in Indonesia, made in Mexico. And, you know, you're showing the kids that all the stuff that they have at their house that can come from Target, you know, comes from all around the world, and you put a map up and show them where all these places are. They get really into it. They're so excited to see you guys because it's like substitute day in a way. They're really into it and they get involved, and they're just glad that they're not listening to their teacher again. And it really is a lot of fun. And what they do at our Junior Achievement here is, for those that might be a little skittish about getting in front of a classroom or something, they allow them, especially the students that want to do it, and we had quite a few do it last year. You and a friend can do it together and go in a team and talk to the class together. And it's all spelled out for you. It's real easy stuff to do. So that's another opportunity that we're going to have here, and we're going to talk more about that next meeting. Not that I've already talked about it enough, but that's another opportunity that will come. And if you want to get involved with that earlier than that, by all means, email me, and I can get you in touch with Junior Achievement across the street. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Ben, and he's going to give you some more information.
All right, so how many of you guys have planners that you use? Thank you. Digital, Google, whatever it is. If you guys have those, I would encourage you to bring it out, because I'm going to essentially break down our fall semester schedule. So yeah, I already see people taking pictures. So if you want to take a picture, if you want to do something.
And I think this was posted to the Pride
yes.
as well. I have to double check though. I think Eric posted it somewhere.
So this is our solidified schedule. A couple of those you don't see what room we will be in. Those will either be in Burke 002 or Burke 001, simply because the confirmation process has to be approved. So we don't put those in there, but it'll either be in Burke 001 or 002. In regards, we're going to kind of work down the list. So here you guys are here for the first administrative meeting, just kind of going through what FMA is, how you can get more involved, and essentially breaking down our semester. So our first field trip is going to be, like Dr. Coy said, Friday, September 14th to BNY Mellon here in Erie. So I don't know how many of you guys met with Paul Wojcik from BNY last year. If you guys remember, BNY had a corporate day. He came up and actually got to speak to some of the students, as well as had a table up in Clark. So we stayed in contact with him, and he actually reached out to us and said he would love to have some of our students come and visit their office in Erie. So if you guys are interested in that and the time works out, we will definitely get a group together and we will be traveling up there. Coming to our next meeting, this is kind of the gem of the semester. So we are actually going to have, kind of tied in with FMA, FPA, is the panel discussion with multiple people. So you guys know Dr. Greg Philbeck, his son Aaron Philbeck, who is an alumni here, as well as 3 other people, Brad Prosper, Dan Kress, and Brenda Newland. Okay, all 4 of them are coming in. They're actually having a panel discussion. So the cool part about this is prior to that, Aaron is going to be speaking with our FMA chapter. Aaron is a portfolio management at the Joseph Group in Columbus, Ohio. So if you guys are interested in really what he's done, Aaron has a CFA He's finished his Kaya, and I believe he's in for I think the financial risk management certification. So he's got a lot going on, but he's happy to come back and speak to all of you guys. So if you're going to be here a little earlier, around 4:30ish, we're going to meet with Aaron prior to the panel discussion. Which there's a correction to that. My apologies. It's actually at 6 o'clock. So we've kind of given a little buffer zone for the rest of the other members to come in and join us for the panel discussion. So a little bit more about that. Dan Kress is a financial planner at Kress Financial here in Erie, as well as Brad Prosper is a analyst down at a investment firm in Pittsburgh called Xperia Investments. And lastly, we have Brendan Newland, who's actually a CPA who works in internal audit and assurance at PNC. So all of them are coming to kind of give everyone the broad aspect of where you can go within finance here and with your degree. So if you guys are interested in that, I would highly recommend it. There's going to be a big marketing campaign for that. That is going to be held in Burke 180. So we plan to fill that room up. And if you guys plan to come, bring questions. They can't wait to hear you guys. They're excited to come back, with all of them being Penn State Bear alums. The next meeting is going to be Thursday, October 4th. We're meeting with Ben Schraber, who works for a company called Manning and Napier. They are an investment firm out of Rochester, New York. He is a technical recruiter and is actually coming in for a corporate day. So like Paul Wojcik, I said earlier, he will have a table up here as well as speak to FMA and everyone throughout the day. So if you guys are interested in that, feel free to drop by and speak to him sometime throughout the day, attend our meeting, or just reach out to him. So Ben Schraber, technical recruiter at Manning and Napier, so be ready for that one. Our next meeting will be a financial speaker series with our executive in residence. So last year, I don't know if you guys knew Mark Nachman. He was a regional president for Sprint, West Virginia, Ohio, PA. He was our executive in residence last year. And this year, George Emanuel, he is our executive in residence. He's actually from BNY Mellon in Pittsburgh. So he's going to be coming up 3 or 4 times throughout the semester to speak with you guys and get to talk with him. So if you are interested in that, FMA, FPA will be shouting that out as well as our Facebook page. And I'm sure you guys will hear about it all over the business school. So keep your eyes open for that one.
One other thing about George Emanuel, that's our field trip that we have planned for the spring semester is to go visit him at BNY down in Pittsburgh.
So yes, so in the spring, we will have a field trip to meet with George Emanuel down in BNY's office in Pittsburgh. And lastly, our meeting of the year is going to be a Zoom meeting with Liz Keller. She works for GE, and she works in their department. So she can't be with us, unfortunately. So we're actually going to do a Zoom meeting. So we're going to have her kind of on Skype Zoom. So she'll be here to take questions and kind of explain to you guys. So in conclusion with that, are there any questions about scheduling, where to meet, how to hear about us? Anything, feel free to reach out. Bueller.
Will there be pizza?
Will there be pizza? Good question. The man, the myth, the legend, almost, Eric Ovick,
I don't even know.
is the pizza guy. So yes, we don't like to say that, even though it is the incentive. Yes, most nights, and especially for the financial speaker series, as well as the corporate days, there will be pizza, sometimes cookie, pop water, stuff like that. So if you guys are coming late from the class or whatever, like, oh, I haven't eaten anything, there will be pizza, drinks, stuff like that. So good question. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Maybe not revolving around food, so that's okay. No? Do you two have anything else you want to say?
I'd say that just you guys, whether on the YouTube channel or even right here, like the fact that you already know, and this is the thing I stress for my classes as well, the fact you already know who's coming in and when they're coming, do some research, because think about how busy your schedules are. Think about what you're going to be like when you're an adult, professional career, traveling possibly from out of town. Like there's reasons that they're coming back. It's not just to say hi and brush off their egos on a bunch of undergrads. Sometimes they're here for connections. Sometimes they're here because they are looking for someone in their company. So take the time when they are here to actually introduce yourself. Spend a few minutes looking at the company they work for, the type of career they're in, ask them questions about what they would do. Be prepared, because we have talked to some of these individuals who've been here time and time again. Some of them are alums that have been back a few times, and some people, have been. Not that this is a job market for you necessarily, but some of these individuals have made hires, or their companies have made hires, or they've wanted to make stronger connections specifically because of you guys. So the fact that you guys already know who's going to be here and when. Take 10 minutes before the meeting and try to figure out, if not more, what's a good question to ask? What type of career are they in? What could I learn from them? Just, don't just sit there when poor Ben's going Bueller and be like, well, thanks for coming in from Pittsburgh or from the other side of the country, and be like, well, I don't really have any questions. Just spend some time, and as terrible as it sounds, see what you can get out of it.
So one more thing I'd like to add before we conclude our meeting is going forward, FMA actually does not hold like a traditional school year schedule. So when we take elections, the elections for the following year goes from January to December. So in November, right before Thanksgiving break, we will be reaching out for elections for the new officers of FMA. So if there are things you guys are interested in, if you feel you want to get a part of this, it's something you'd like to do, you'd like to be in that process, feel free to reach out, come to the meetings, we'll keep you updated. So I believe myself, Jared, Eric, those two will be graduating, and then I will be leaving as president. So if you guys are interested in this is something you'd like to do and get involved, we'd love to reach out and talk to you guys. So, but in conclusion, thank you guys for coming out. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to sign up on FMA just so we have an active schedule of who's in the club from year to year. And there are class sign-in sheets. So if you have teachers wanting you to have attendance at speaker series and or meetings, feel free to sign those up. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, probably might want to check before we introduce her, but
Where you going? Is it Friday? I work.
Okay, yeah, all right. Thank you. You know, once upon a time, we actually
Info on Roger Newland.
we are.
Bad.
Oh,
She's not an internal auditor. She's a worker.
oh, good luck, fam.
Wow. Even Eric was on this summer, like I was in teachers too, touched PhD, and I met this lady that like worked for junior teachers in theory and stuff, and she really, really likes being like taught like
I don't think
They usually hire you, like every summer, I think they hire you.
and like I like told her, or I think she's gonna be like for the fall or something, but like I told her, I don't remember her name.
Yeah, so there's a new girl there named Emily. Named Emily, and then Erin.
This lady had a little redhead baby.
Oh, yeah, so Kristen. That's Christian's new.
I'm not sure, but I like mentioned how I helped with Titans and like stuff, and she knew you, so.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm on the education board too. So, and then whenever Phil Beck cannot go to the regular JA board meeting, he tells me to go in his place. So I've met a lot of the people on the board there that I recognize, but I don't necessarily know their names because I've only met them like once or
She
twice.
said that like how awesome it was that we helped out and like stuff like that.
They love us. They
Yeah,
love
they
us
really-
over
they
there.
sure seem to.
Well, it's because of you guys. I mean, I cannot do that stuff. They don't want me to talk to this kid who has me against for 3 hours.
Yeah, it was cool though. It was nice to like, what's your major? And blah, blah, and
Right.
went there. So
Cool.
yeah.
You gonna help us get this in?
Yeah.
Sweet. Let me know if you need anything.
First of all, Robin, you're published. That's what that means. When I make my book, I'm just gonna be pictures of
If you're a royalty for book.
Oh, somebody published a picture of him?
How about she?
B. Eric Robbins published a
The
picture.
back of my head's not.
Just bright spots. It's from Chicago. Is that from Chicago?
Oh.
Katie and I were in the
Oh,
we were in the business
No.
newsletter. Did you see that?
Yeah, my mom
I was
asked
so
about it. My mom's
mad.
like,
They hung it up in my work. Yeah, I never
was so
bought
happy.
Which one was it?
the one of the newsletter of us in Chicago were like this. I was like 40 pounds heavier. Like, oh, they hung it up in my work. I'm so mad. It was me crashing.
Aggressive.
They put it on the fridge. Sales guys thought it was hilarious.
I had to look at it on my kitchen table for 2 weeks.
What?
I had to look at it on my kitchen table every day. You were in my kitchen.
I've never met her.
Yeah.
You now.
What? Okay, well, then I was just voicing
It's
whatever I
part of
know
the
she
perfect
covers
day,
me
so
most.
why are we asking that?
I know she
This
covers
is
me
my
most.
biggest thing.
What do I wanna do with this thing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to- He's gonna stop it.
Yeah.
Record
She changed all of
Ben,
it. Wait, what's
yeah,
her name?
can you press-
She changed
Oh,
all
it's
of
not
it.
stopped?
Down.
Has it been
Can
broadcast?
you, yeah, could you scroll down?
If you can do for quick, like this.
Every time I touch the mouse, 8 things pop up or close or something.
Figure out.
I don't know, I think he might have closed something, I'm not sure.
Jared, did you stop this? Really?
No, you're definitely talking about.
I literally clicked end, and it went to that. I clicked end again. How many times do you have to click end?
That's pretty easy. Well, there's a lot less.
You just clicked end, didn't you? Yeah, that's what I did too.
Harder, but there's a lot less.
They've been hard back.
Do you
The 451 is, I'm sorry, 471 is pretty late.
If you click on the live,
I mean, compared to 451, oh yeah, it's extremely laid back.
I've heard this.
Sorry for those of you that
The
are
trouble
still
businessmen
on the
have with it is When
stream.
they have trouble converting a currency to another currency, it seems to trip so many people up.